Seventh grade, we are working on a new project today. We are going to use a technique called two-point perspective. So you will need a ruler and a pencil. Mechanical pencil would actually work pretty good with this project. I'm not used to using those. I usually use a regular pencil, so you got to make sure it's got a pretty good point to it so that we can get those nice fine lines. So we will be drawing a haunted house in two-point perspective. And this class, we're going to get the angles done right, and we'll start working on a few details. And then the next class, we can add some more details and some shading to that project. So we'll be working 2 class periods on this. And let's get started. Here we go. We're going to turn to the next page in our sketchbook. And probably what we want to do is we're going to want to go landscape style with this picture. All right. And make sure you've got your pencil and ruler ready. We'll need to draw a few lines. I'll show you a couple examples here that I found online. These artists, some of them are photographs, but I like the perspective of it. We're going to get a corner view, so a more realistic view of some houses. So let's get going with that. We're going to go ahead and put our horizon line. Normally, I think, whenever I do a project with you, we always put the horizon line a little higher on the page, and that gives us a lot of ground to work with. But for this one, we're actually going to put the horizon line a little lower on the page. All right, so I'm towards the bottom half here. If I had to do a measurement, let's measure that up. It is a little under 3 inches, so there's my 3-inch mark right there. So you can see that I've got just a small amount of ground and a whole lot of sky here, okay? Now, in two-point perspective, we want to make sure that we have 2 points. And I know in the past we've done something called one-point perspective where we draw our lines all to 1 point. But in this one, our horizon line here, we are going to put a point on each end. Now, each one of those points, those are called vanishing points. Because eventually what it would look like is our lines, if they drew them all the way to the point, they look like they vanish, and so that's why they call them vanishing points. So you're going to probably hear me say that quite a bit. So this land mass that we have here is where we're going to start building our haunted house. And I'm going to start with just a simple line. Pretty much every geometric shape that we're going to use just starts with a line. When we did one-point perspective, we started with a box, all right, or a rectangle, or something flat, a flat shape, triangle. But for two-point, we're going to use just as a line here, all right. We're going to always make sure that our angles are going in towards one of the points. So I'm just going to start with something simple here because I can always build on this. And I'm going to take the bottom of this line, and I'm going to line up my ruler with this and the vanishing point on the left. And I'm just going to draw a line out just a little ways. Now what's going to end up happening is we're going to end up getting rid of some of the horizon line because the house is now going to be in front of it. But until that happens, I'm just going to leave it where it's at. I'm going to take the top of the line and I'm going to draw it in towards the left vanishing point. So now I know this side of the wall is angled at proper perspective. And to get the other edge of this line, I just have to make sure that it is nice and straight up and down like this line right here. I got to make sure it's going straight up and down. We don't want it to go at an angle, all right? That might help with some of the older ricketiness of this haunted house, but really we want to keep it fairly straight for right now, all right? So there's one side of our wall, and we want to get the other side of our wall. So I'm going to do the same thing, except I'm going to go to the right vanishing point. So line up my ruler with the corner, lined it up with the point. This one I'm going to make just a little bit bigger, all right? You can decide all the lengths of those lines as you go. I'm going to take the top, I'm going to go to the right vanishing point, and then again I got to make sure I got a line nice and straight like this. And you might do this and realize, oh, I got that straight, but I got a little extra, so you just get rid of that. And I know I'm drawing kind of dark here so that it shows up on the iPad here, but you might want to go a little lighter, although we'll be able to shade inside of there. So now I have a three-dimensional box in two-point perspective, and I can add and start making part of my house from this. So I just have to think about some of the things I want to add to it. I think I want to go with more of a column up in here, And what I'm going to do is, again, just kind of start with a line. I can make that line however long I want it to go. For this one, it's sitting on the top of this box, and we can't see the top of this box because it has gone up past the horizon line. If it was below the horizon line, we could see the top of it, but it went past it. So this line sits somewhere where we can't see the bottom. So the good news is I don't have to draw the bottom. I just have to draw the top. And for the top, I still have to line them up no matter where they are. I'm going to line it up with the left side, and I'm not going to go out very far. And then I'm going to take the top and I'm going to line it up with the right side. And again, I don't have to go out very far from there. And then I have to draw those sides so that they are the same as this first line. So this one will go down and it'll meet up with the box there. And this one will go down and it'll meet up. And we don't see the bottom, so we don't have to worry about it. And now we have part of our building is going upward, or our haunted house is going upward. So I'm going to put a roof on top of this small one for right now. And what I want to do is I want to decide what place I want to have a triangle. And I think I'm going to go with this side here. So I'm just going to put my triangle shape on top of here. So usually what I do is I find the middle of this line and kind of eyeballed it. And then I'm going to go straight up from there. So I lined up my ruler, and I can stop wherever I want. I can be way up here. I can be way down here. I'm just going to go right about there. And from that corner, or from that dot, I'm going to go to the corners that are on this line. The reason I had my ruler go straight up is so that it goes kind of along the lines of the edge of this side of the house. It just kind of goes straight up. So now I need to get the other side of the roof. So now I'm going to take my triangle point and I'm going to line it up with my left vanishing point. And I'm doing this because that's what this side of the building is doing. It is going towards that point. So I want to make sure that my roof is going towards my point. Now with the slope, since I've made this triangle, I can't go to a certain vanishing point. I just have to make sure that the slope is the same as the one in the front. So these two should match. And if you have a little extra, like I said, then you just kind of get rid of that. So that gives you a what's called a gable roof, a triangled roof on there. We can start to make this a little fancier if we want. And we can start adding things to our house, our haunted house, to even increase it. So some of these lines might end up going away depending on where we put things. I'm going to start with another building, I think, in this area here. And what I think I'm going to do is start over here with a line. And I don't see the bottom of it, so I'm going to do the top so that it goes in towards my point. And then I'm going to do the top so it goes in towards the other point on the right. And this one I'm going to bring in so that it stops about middle of my last one, which means this line is going to go away because this box is now overlapping this box. And so again, I want to make sure I got a line going straight up and down, so straight up and down. And I don't like that this one's so close to the edge, so I'm actually going to move it in a little bit, like so. Again, I don't see the bottom of this, but now I know that this one sits a little further back because it's not right on the edge here. So again, I'm going to put another triangled roof on here, but I'm going to put my triangle on this side. And basically I'm just trying to get a good framework for my haunted house. All right, so there's my triangle. I'm going to take the top because this building is going at an angle towards the right vanishing point. The top should go at an angle towards the right vanishing point. And then I have to get the slope the same as this one back here. So now it looks like this one's resting up against the side of this building, and I'm starting to get the framework of my house. What I think I want to do in the beginning here, or in the bottom here, is to make a nice little porch that kind of sticks off. And then I'm going to look to see what other kind of details I want. So if you want something to come off of a box, whether that's on the bottom, in fact, I'll do one coming off the bottom of the box, and I'll do one that's coming off of the top. So normally I would start with a line and I would make my box, but this one I have to connect in a certain area. So I'm going to go what would be the back part. Ooh, that was a tongue twister. So I know that if I connect it to the bottom here and I go to here, this is going to be connected to the edge of the box. So I want to draw some lines away from this box. So I'm going to go, it's kind of weird because I'm on this side and I normally would go this way, but since I'm coming away from the box, I'm going from the top and the bottom of this line with the opposite vanishing point. So we're coming out this way, and we're coming out this way. And then I'm going to make sure I've got a line that is going straight up and down. I got a little extra right there. All right. So normally, if I started, this would be the line I would normally start with, and then I would connect the top and the bottom going that way, and the top and the bottom going that way. But I had to get it so that it looked like it was attached to the house, so I had to start with the back line there so that I knew where they were going to connect. So I'm going to lose all this corner here, and then here's an interesting one. So now I have a box that has a top to it. Because it is below the horizon line and it passed below it, I can actually see the top of the box. If it goes up past it, sometimes I can't see that part. So it's going to have a small area where this could be flat. So what I could do, and I'll try to do a couple different directions, is I would cross the line going towards the left point, and I would cross the line going towards the right point, and wherever they meet, that is the top of that box. I want mine to be a little fancier, so I'm actually going to put a gable roof on top of this porch, and I'm going to use this area right here to start my gable roof. So I make that flat triangle shape. I'm doing that because there's a lot of space here. I could have made this a balcony or something. But again, sometimes when we see those little narrow roofs, it doesn't look as good. And I figured this place probably had a nice roof on top of their porch as well. So I drew that line going back into the point. I have to get the slope to be about the same. So now at least it looks like it's connected. And with this being a box, I can do some interesting things here. I can actually make a smaller rectangle inside of this one, and I can still use my points to help me out there with the top and the bottom. And I can do that on both sides. And you're going to get a couple effects here. You're going to get something that looks like windows. All right. So those could be just windows in a nice open area room. But if I wanted to show the inside, I could go inside these windows and go opposite directions. So from here I'm going to go towards my left, and from here I'm going to go towards my right. And now there's still windows and I can see inside, or maybe these could be open and maybe the door to get in is right here. All right, and maybe I draw some stairs on this side or something like that. So I'm starting to build my house. I'm going to have you guys mess around with yours for a little bit, and then come back and I will show you how to do some details, okay? Now the last thing I showed you was this porch area here, and I forgot I was going to show you one that was actually coming away from the house that is not on the bottom of the ground here. So again, I want to start with a line, so I'm going to make one right here, let's say. And normally I would have lines that go, if I wanted it to be a window, I have lines that would go to the point and another line up and down, and I would have a window like I did on these here. But I want this one to look like it's coming up off of the, coming out of the side of the box. And so I'm going to raise it up just a little higher, all right? So we'll do something like that. And so again, I started with a line like I did here, but I want to come away from the box. So I'm going to draw two lines, making sure I'm lined up with my vanishing point, all right? And let's see here. Do I want those to be that long? I think so. So here's the side. And then this would be the line I would normally start with. So that would be my beginning line like I did for this one. Started here. The top and the bottom go to the right, and the top and the bottom go to the left. And then I have to make my line that goes straight up and down like that. Now this one's interesting as well because it is above the horizon line. I don't see the top of this part that's sticking out, but I do see the bottom. So what I want to do is I want to take the left side and bring it over to the right. So I'm taking the bottom left and going a little ways out to the right, and the bottom right and going a little ways out to the left vanishing point, and wherever they cross, that is the underneath part. So this is now sticking out away from the building, and I can do a couple things here. I can repeat some lines on this one and make some windows. All right, and I can do that on this side as well. Start with a line, always kind of start with a line, and then make some windows on this half, so this kind of sticks out. If you want to make a window just on a flat piece, it's pretty easy. I will show you a couple different ways. Again, I'm starting with a line, and I'm starting with it farthest back. If I start here, I could still do it, but that means I'm drawing my lines kind of backwards, and I kind of want to go from the line to the point and not away from it. So just kind of make sure, whoops, we're lined up, and I go out a little ways, and I go out a little ways, and then I make sure that this side, the left side, and the right side are lined up. I could put some lines in this, so another line going up and down, but any other line that's horizontal is going to go towards my point. All right. That way they go in the proper perspective, but that's how you would do one on the side. If you want to do a lot of windows in one space, again, there's my line, and I'm going to draw the top to the point. Again, I don't see the bottom of this one, so I don't have to worry about that. All right, and here's how you get a lot of windows. So I know the top's going to the point, so I'm just going to keep working my way down. I've already got kind of the outer edge, and I just want to make sure that I stay lined up to the point, and I can get a lot of windows cranked out. This is something you would do for a skyscraper in the city. I don't know if necessarily going to look good on a haunted house, but I'm going to put one in there anyway. So, okay. And you can get details in there if you want. You still, using your point is going to be the key to pretty much everything in here. If I want to go a little further off of the windows, I can do that. Again, lines going up and down. And then I could do some shutters, and I might be able to do 2 for 1 here. As long as I'm going to my point with these lines, I can have some shutters. And I'm just kind of quickly cranking out those lines. You can see why a mechanical pencil will work a little bit better, because you can get a finer line. All right, there I just cranked out some shutters. Again, I want to try to add as much detail as possible. Some nice windows. Could I get a little bit more unique with the roofs? I could. They could get extended down with the ruler. Oops, I guess that would go. See, I'm not using my ruler, so I can add a thickness to them so that they extend out a little bit. Oops. So really, just by using the perspective points, you can get a lot of unique things to happen and some good designs from that. So we would see the bottom. So this is more natural to what a roof would look like, because you have the thickness of the wood. I guess I didn't need to raise the top. Oh, I did, because it's bigger. All right, and so you get a little bit more of a thickness and how they overhang so that the rain would fall down. If you're putting siding on a house, just look at the side you're on, and for instance, this one's going towards the left point, so I would make all my lines go towards the left point, and just want to make sure that they're going at that angle. You wouldn't have something that's going to be straight like this. It won't work out. It doesn't look good with the perspective. All right. If I think I can probably do a 2 for 1 here. Let's say I put siding all along this house, even though there probably should be a window, and I'm going way too fast. There we go. So I just put a bunch of siding, and I decided that I wanted it to be brick. All right. I can take those siding lines and turn them into brick by just making sure I've got a ruler that's going straight up and down, just because that's what the edge of my house is doing. And I'm just going to skip every other one, and then when I do I just slid it over just a little bit, and then I do just a little bit of the next. I just keep rotating one side and then the next side, working my way up. And that's how you can get an easy amount of bricks, especially if you decide not to do siding. It's just as easy to draw in the brick on your buildings. All right. So I would work on putting in some windows. I think I messed myself up. Some windows, some bricks, some siding. Work on the roofs. I will try to display those examples so that you can get some ideas, but you can also always Google image haunted houses and see some unique tops and some unique ornate details that they have in theirs. But we're just trying to get a nice size haunted house, a lower horizon line, vanishing points, and then work on some details. Let's not worry too much about the surrounding area for right now. Let's focus just on the house. And then class period 2, we'll go over some other details that can go around and how we'll do some shading and things like that. Okay? Hey, perspective is not an easy thing to do. It's taken me years and years of practice to be able to draw those lines. For you guys at home, Google 2-point perspective. You'll get to see all kinds of stuff. Definitely try to look up some haunted houses to get some nice details. Don't draw what you see. Don't draw a whole thing, but you can take bits and pieces from different pictures and put them in yours. That's pretty much what we're working on for this class period, is just getting those details in, getting the structure of our building, putting in the basics, the windows, the bricks, the siding, the roofs, all that stuff, making sure we're getting it spooky. And then next week I'll show you how to we'll put in some trees, we'll add some spookiness to how to shade in so that it looks a little more maybe older type of house, and give it kind of a gloomy feel from your nice drawing there. So that's what you should be working on. And then we will see you next week for the next part. Guys, have a good week. Miss you, and can't wait to see you.